Good morning, everyone. As we filter in, just to let you know, we will be starting at 10:30. Feel free to, in our chat, put a little bit about, introduce yourself and where you're from. We would definitely love to hear from everyone. All right. Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on choosing a learning management system. This webinar is brought to you by JER HR Group and our Trainery Brand Solutions. JER HR Group is a national human resources firm with over 30 years of experience providing compensation consulting, employee learning, organizational development consulting, and HR services and support for over 300 clients nationwide. Our team and staff and consultants work collaboratively with our clients to develop and provide customized solutions that align with the client's needs and strategies. And our Trainery brand, who is presenting with us today, offers a suite of products for e-learning, workforce training, talent management, all that help our HR departments to optimize employee skill sets, knowledge, productivity, and employee experience. After the webinar, you're actually going to receive a recording of this webinar, as well as a copy of the PowerPoint presentation itself by email. This morning's presenter is Matt Cross. He's an accounting manager for Trainery Network. And I'm going to turn it over to him to get us started. Thank you for being here.
Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for the introduction, and we'll go ahead and jump right in. As she mentioned, my name is Matt Cross with Trainery, one of our e-learning specialists here. I've been working in learning and development, specifically with e-learning and LMS systems for over 15 years now. So we'll talk a bit today about some things to look for when choosing an LMS for your organization, some things to keep in mind. We're going to spend a large portion of our time this morning diving directly into TraineryLMS and getting a chance to see our solution and how that fulfills the needs of many organizations. All right, so how do I choose the right LMS for our organization? It's probably a good question to start asking yourself when looking for a new LMS. The best starting point, of course, start by identifying your pain points. So what problems do you need to solve? Do you already have a learning management system that is not quite sufficient for your needs? Are you looking for more features? Are you looking for more refined features? Is keeping on top of training your biggest issue? Is it providing timely content to learners? Improving performance, managing training compliance, or measuring results that connect to business KPIs? Got to know where the target is in order to start the journey of finding the right LMS. So we're taking the time early on to know why you're looking for one. And good to list out how you're going to use the platform. So listing out expected use cases of the LMS and compare that to features offered throughout the different vendors you are considering. Stay focused, look for solutions that target your needs and support your training goals for the next 1 to 3 years. So certainly in most organizations, it's worth keeping in mind, not just something that will fulfill a need today, but something that is going to fulfill your needs for years to come. And tied to that is considering the scalability of an LMS. Is it a platform that is going to grow with you as your organization grows? Or is it something that's only going to fulfill the needs for today? Obviously, we would prefer to put ourselves in a position where we're choosing something that's going to be a lasting impact and a platform that's used for years to come. Features to look for in an LMS, starting with one important one, especially with the more and more adopted usage of mobile devices and different devices, is the responsiveness across devices. If you're having to train your employees differently based on how they're interacting with the LMS, that could be a problem. So certainly worth looking at for LMS systems that are mobile compatible. Do they have similar navigation amongst the different platforms? Is their iOS app similar to their Android app? You don't want to have to be training people in different ways, just depending on what device they're using. Organizational hierarchy features. So we'll talk about that in Trainery, and one of the, I think, more unique features of TraineryLMS is the customization with the organizational setup. But certainly as you are considering LMS, whether it be Trainery or others, trying to keep in mind what your organization hierarchy and structure looks like currently and how that can be mirrored within the LMS. The closer you can get it to what that organization tree looks like, the more effective the platform itself is going to be, and the easier it's going to be to roll out and adopt usage. Ease in adding users and ability to map users to roles, groups, and multi-level branches. So really just intuitive user management and interface for administrators and learners. Premium LMS functionality with access to a ready-to-go content library. One of the unique calling cards as well with TraineryLMS and Trainery as an organization is the fact that it's not just a software company. It's not just the software. We also have a huge content library. I think somewhere in the deck we listed 2,000 plus courses, which that number's creeping ever closer to 3,000 now, over 2,500 and counting. And we continue adding additional off-the-shelf courses, as well as some great features on the platform that allow our clients to create their own custom courses. We'll take a look at some of that this morning as well. Content assignment with a few clicks to get the right training to the right people. And we'll also discuss one of the features with Trainery is that you can, as an admin, set up content assignment to be done with no clicks and automate that process. Course bundling options for onboarding, upskilling, safety training, and more. One of the features of TraineryLMS is that as an admin user, you're able to set up course bundles for your organization. We'll take a dive into that this morning. And there's no limit to the amount of course bundles. So we'll take a look at some of those examples, like a new hire training bundle or a specialized skill bundle, safety training bundle, that kind of thing. Customizable email status alerts for assignments, approaching due dates, expiring completed training, and more. So we'll look at the email notification system embedded within TraineryLMS and see some examples of those email notifications. A data-driven approach to evaluating training programs so you know what's working and where improvements are needed. We'll take a look today with Trainery, our dashboard that's accessible to admin users when they log in. Is a great way to get that information at a quick glance when logging in. We'll also look at some of the reports that we have with Trainery so you can see what that data-driven approach looks like in practice. I mentioned scalability earlier, but worth mentioning again as an important feature to look for, and the ability to integrate with other HCM platforms. And with that, give me one moment. We're going to just go ahead and flip over and pop into the LMS so we can see what Trainery looks like. All right, here we go. I am logged into a demo account on our Trainery LMS so that we can navigate and take a quick look at some of the features and highlight some of the important ones that should be considered when looking at a new LMS provider. And I am logged in as a client admin role user. We'll talk more about the user types within the Trainery system as we move on. But this dashboard is what I mentioned earlier, the quick at a glance information accessible for admins. This greets you upon login at any time as an administrative user. And we can see things like the active users over certain time periods, course completions, utilization. We also have user dashboards we can flip over to and see, again, just more specific stats for specifically users versus just overall platform usage, where we can see user enrollment in courses, how many have not started, how many have passed, how many courses have been failed. Again, just quick hit information that you can see without having to dive into all the reports when you first log in. And all of these, of course, do tie into reports that we'll take a look at later on. Now, moving back to this dashboard, because I like this visualization, one of the things that I mentioned in things to consider for an LMS is how the platform can be set up to mirror your specific unique organizational structure. And the closer you can mirror that sort of structure into a platform, it's easier for rollout and adoption. It's easier for tracking training completions and ensuring training compliance. With our learning management system, it's a bit unique compared to some other vendors I've worked with in the past in previous roles. A lot of LMS providers limit their organization structure to essentially two levels. They may have wrinkles to split it out in other ways with groups, learning groups or bundles or whatever. But with TraineryLMS, we've added a third organizational structure, a third node, a third level, if you will. And that sounds like a very minor difference, right? 3 is only 1 greater than 2, but that extra level allows you to have more customization and really ensures that the platform can be set up from an organizational structure standpoint in almost any situation, depending on how your organization is set up. For this specific demo account, this organization tree is set up more on a geographical basis. So we can see that our level 1 structures here are named after cities, a Richmond location, Greensboro, Durham, New York, Charlotte, Winston-Salem, and so on and so forth. So here are level 1 structures. And each of these can have multiple level 2 structures. So within this, we've already opened up and seen that the default group has a subset called Office and a subset called Service. Here are our level 2s. All of these level 2 structures can also break down, and this is where Trainery is unique in that there's a third layer below this that we can open up and customize even greater to where the Office may be divided, in this case, for this specific client example, into specific job roles. So human resources, customer service, or in our service division, home inspections, install, electrical, and maintenance. You can also see that each of these categories have something called bundles, which we'll talk about in a few moments when we get to the course content. But I like this visualization. Let's take another different look at that organization structure so you can see it laid out in total here. Again, same information, different layout, our level 1s that are all here, level 2, and our level 3s. We also mentioned earlier about looking for ways in which a platform would scale as your organization grows or your needs changes. One of the nice things with this style setup and the way we have this set up for you to add additional structures, it's all pretty intuitive. You see our little color-coded buttons here. We can add, in this case, what's called a job role. It's the level 3 structure for this organization. We can add departments, which is the level 2, or we can add locations, which was that level 1 of the organization. So if we were an organization in growth and we were opening up new locations, or acquiring new locations in different areas, when we talk about scalability from an LMS, at least from the organizational setup here within the platform, it's as easy as just clicking add a new location, where we could just name that we have acquired a new city location. Let's just go with, oh, we already have a Greensboro location. So we're gonna go with, I don't know, Test City location. It's Friday, I can't come up with any creative city names, I guess. But we can click save. And with just a couple clicks and typing in a name, we've created an entire new branch of our organizational tree as we continue to expand and grow. We're going to go ahead and just back here so we can see. And now we've got our test city location, where we could add additional level 2s and level 3s as needed. One other thing to note on here, you've probably seen the column of manager, and I think even when we were creating the structure, we could see a tab for manager. TraineryLMS is set up in such a way that the administrative users can be set as a role as a client admin over everything, but you're also allowed to have sub-level admins over each of these different branches of the tree. So if you had a sub-level admin who was, for instance, the admin, manager, director for the Durham location, you can set that user up as an admin, an entity manager for just Durham, so that they have administrative rights and privileges over all of the branches that come off of the Durham location, but they don't have admin access to Greensboro, Charlotte, Winston-Salem, etc. You can also set up sub-level admins for each of the level 2s and each of the level 3 even, so that you could have something like a job role manager, or someone who, if I'm using the example from the service division, someone who is the maintenance director that has admin privileges over the maintenance department, but that person may be separate from the person who's the electrical head. So someone else can be the electrical manager and over all of the employees. But their visibility and admin privileges extend only to whatever nodes they are responsible for. So it's a good way to differentiate and segment people out, and still provide admin level access at some of the sub-levels.
Quick question, Matt. I know we said we
Sure.
would address some of the questions at the end, but a very good question just came into the chat. And this person wants to know, how do our systems integrate with Microsoft products?
I may need a little bit of clarification on that question. So I'm not entirely sure which specific Microsoft product or what the aim would be.
Okay. I'll let you know if
So
they
feel
provide
free.
any clarification on that.
Sure. Great. Thanks. I will go ahead and say, and it wouldn't be limited to Microsoft products, but to go ahead and touch on, I think what I mentioned earlier with HRIS or HCM systems, if you're using like a Paycom or ADP, Workday, et cetera, TraineryLMS does have an open API so that we can set up that connection between your HRIS that you're using in order to import users and that kind of thing. That may answer the question, but if it's a little more specific or technical, please drop it in the chat. So we've taken a quick look at the organization here. Let's take a look at the users within the organization. So our user management, as I mentioned, is one thing that should be considered when reviewing an LMS platform or vendor. How easy is it to manage users? You don't want it to be a headache anytime you need to update a user or reset a password for someone. So we have tried to make that very straightforward for people, but we can go to users and see a listing of all of our users within this demo account. Again, demo account, so not real people. So no personal information here, but we can take a look at some of them. Let's go in here and we can go to edit user. So if Luca forgot his password, for example, as an admin, I'm able to go in and just reset that password. And I can even flag it to reset at login. So best practice that some clients I have work with, one of the best practices they have is doing something like a just generic password, like the user ID or safety or training or whatever, but flagging it to reset at login. So it's then up to the user, incumbent upon the user to create their own password at the first login. It's also a good thing just from a password security standpoint. There's also user types. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the benefits with Trainery is that you're able to have admins at multiple levels of the organization. So we have our regular end user, employee user type, but we also have user types of client admin, which would be the admin over the entire platform. Also location manager, department manager, and job role manager. So these are the different classifications for the levels of hierarchy I mentioned earlier. By default, from day one on a new account with Trainery, these are named entities, divisions, and departments. That's customizable, obviously, and with this demo account, we customized it to location, department, and job role, but that naming carries over not only to the reports and the structure page, but also here to the roles. So we have our location manager, department manager, and job role manager. We can also easily move someone from one location to another. If they were, for instance, going from human resources in the office to customer service, it's a quick click reassignment and update.
And Matt, there was a bit of clarification in the Q&A.
I thought I saw a bubble pop up, so I was trying to give you time to interrupt.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
That's quite all right. So, and then another question just popped. So that one, for the clarification, they just said all Microsoft products such as Excel, Word, PowerPoint, or even Microsoft Teams. Is there any sort of integrations that you would be able to show, I guess, that they would be able to work with within the system?
Currently, there's no native integrations with any of the Microsoft products. So I'm assuming based on the clarification, looking for something similar to, like I'm sending a meeting invite to someone and now I get my, Teams or Zoom plugin that I can add in. So, no plugins or anything native in the platform so far.
Okay, awesome. And then it looks like Heather says, will we have users who need the sub-admin access, but who are also users themselves and need to access the same things as their employees? Would they be able to do that as a sub-admin?
That is a great question. And the answer is yes. So and I'll navigate away from this page for just a moment before coming back. When a user logs in, of course, they don't have just a regular user type employee. They don't have admin level access. Their landing page is different. They don't have a dashboard or anything. They just see my courses. But as you can see here, the admins also have their my courses section under their learning tab. So the admin would be able to access based on where they are put in the structure, where they are assigned in the structure, or if you've assigned courses to them separately. So like in this case, the admin that I am logged in as has 3 courses enrolled to them that they have access to, in addition to having admin access. So if we were looking at, for instance, I don't want to jump ahead too far, but back to the bundles and hierarchy. If you had someone who is an admin of maintenance, for example, they would be assigned as a user in the maintenance department, and they would be the admin for the maintenance department. So for being the admin of the department, they're able to do things like user management, view the reports, etc. And being assigned as a user in the department gives them the course assignments that have been assigned to this department. I'll kind of touch on this a little bit more too as we go through the course information and the bundle creation process. That may help clarify that a little more as well. So in this case, if we go back and look at Luca, who is in the office in human resources, we can look at their learning section here under the user screen and see a listing of all the courses that Luca is currently enrolled in. So for instance, if Luca was a client admin or location manager, they'd have the admin access and have the course assignments that have been put here. And assigning new courses is done very simply through the Manage Course button on their learning page. And this is, again, just courses for an individual user. When we get to bundles, we'll talk about course assignments for entire branches of the organization. But adding new courses is as simple as checking what courses you wanted to add and clicking Apply. I touched on the fact earlier that TraineryLMS does have a email notification system. One of the email notifications that is triggered right here is for a new course enrollment. So if I were to save this, Luca would get an email saying, hey, your library has expanded. You've been assigned new courses. Please log into Trainery and take the new courses. I'm going to go ahead and hit cancel here. And we see another tab here that says bundle. And we can see that Luca is assigned 3 course bundles. And we could even assign additional bundles. We can see a list of the bundles that have been created on this demo site, which is a good transition to talk about what in the world are bundles. So we're going to pop over to our course library and our bundle collection here by clicking the learning section. This takes us as a landing page to the course library where we see courses, we see bundles, but the library here for courses is showing a listing of all of the courses available on this account. When we're working with clients and setting up their page before going live, this is something that you have agency over in selecting the courses that are available. As I mentioned, we have over 2,500 and counting, pushing closer to the 3,000 course mark available through TraineryLMS. We obviously don't want to load all of those courses. It would be a nightmare having to sort through 2,500 plus courses when trying to find something to assign to people. So when we're going through that onboarding and setup, you're selecting, or we're helping you select courses to fit your organizational needs. But now let's look at these bundles. So we saw a list of bundles earlier. So course bundles just allows you to create what it sounds like, a collection of courses under, common header that can be assigned to either the individual, like we saw on Luca's edit user page, but it can also be assigned to entire organization nodes. So for instance, this human resources bundle, if we take a look at it, we can see what courses are in this bundle. We've got a collection of diversity, conflict resolution, the ADA, FLSA, workers' comp management, etc. So all of these courses are in this human resources bundle. So if we looked at users, we can see what users have this bundle, which actually Luca has this bundle. If we wanted to assign additional users to this bundle, we could click Manage User from this screen and just do some one-off assignments. So if we added Sheena and Claire, for instance, and hit Save, they would be assigned to this Human Resources bundle. So without having to select 10 or so courses and assigning them to 2 different individuals, we've just clicked a couple times to assign Sheena and Claire all of these courses simply by assigning them the Human Resources bundle. That's one way of using bundles. The other, and probably more commonly used way, is automating that course enrollment. So we can look at this hierarchy tab here. Again, for this demo site, it's called Job Role. That's customizable based on your organization and whatever we end up naming that level 3 structure for your organization. But we see from this tab that the Human Resources Job Role department is receiving this bundle. So by assigning it to an actual structure like that level 3 of the test city that we created earlier, that ensures that all users, current and future, that are assigned to these groups automatically receive all of the courses in the bundle to their My Courses page. So that really simplifies and automates the process for you. So you're not constantly having to go through anytime a new user is added and assigning new courses. This bundle setup takes care of all of that for you. There's no limit to the amount of bundles that you're allowed to create within the platform. So in the demo, I've created a whole bunch, but I've seen a lot of different use cases for the bundles, everything from specific job title bundles to things like specialized training or soft skills. So leadership courses for like high potential candidates, courses that you don't want to necessarily be assigned to an entire organization structure, just to select individuals. But it's a lot easier to create this bundle than trying to remember what the 3 courses in this bundle should have been when you're assigning them to users. So yeah, the bundles make life a lot easier. I see there's a
Quick
bubble in
question,
the
Matt.
Q&A. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It says, let's see, Jim says, if you have to update a course in a bundle and you have a learner actively working in the bundle, but has not accessed that course in the bundle, would the newest version automatically be assigned to the learner?
Great question. Yes, so it would be assigned, and that question has a couple parts to it, in that, say for instance, I needed to remove a course, like if there was an accident, I accidentally put 4 courses instead of 3 courses and I need to remove one. It will automatically remove courses that you remove from the bundle. If someone has already started the course, it will remove it from the bundle, but it'll still stay assigned to the user because they've started the course. If they haven't started the course, then it just removes it from their My Course queue entirely. We can also add courses in much the same way. So if, next year we wanted to add additional leadership courses, instead of creating a brand new leadership bundle in this example, we could just go in and add a new course. And that would also trigger the course enrollment for existing users in the bundle. And it would add that to the queue of however many courses to future users in the bundle. So if Luca, using the example from before, had leadership courses and he's already completed these 3, if an admin came in and added a 4th course, it would automatically trigger an email notification to Luca. It would do automatically the course enrollment of the new course that's been added. One of the features that will be coming out within the next couple weeks, if not sooner, is also allowing client admins to designate bundles as recurring enrollments. So for instance, if you have annual mandated training, so something that everyone is going to have to complete every 12 months, we're rolling out a feature currently on our test environment now, we'll be moving to our live site soon, to where an admin can designate a bundle to automatically archive and re-enroll users every set interval, say 12 months, 24 months, etc. I see the bubble again, so I'll pause.
Perfect. I love we have a little group going now. Jim said, is there a versioning system so we can understand which version of the course the learner worked on or has completed in the learner's transcript or report?
Currently, there's not. I do see a need for that though, so that's likely something that will be pushed through in a future update.
Fantastic. Thank you, Matt.
No problem. Okay, let's move along here to back to the library. Let's look at these courses real quick so we can see the list of courses. Editing a course, if we wanted to do that, it can be done through the edit button. That's pretty universal throughout the platform. Every page has this edit pencil icon that goes to an edit screen. I mentioned earlier about custom courses or creating your own course. That can be done through the system directly through this link here. It's add course, which pops up here. Instead of adding this, I'm just going to go into an existing test custom course that I did so we can see what a completed one looks like. But once you've created the course, you got some more options like contents. So let's take a look at content. And our course builder is very straightforward. One of the easiest I've used with a platform. Adding your own content here to this course. As soon as we click that, we're seeing, okay, do we want to add a video file, audio, SCORM package, PDF, PowerPoint, or a quiz? So some of the uses I've seen with clients would be something like a, company specific or site specific policy acknowledgement. So they've got like a PDF that they used to just hand out to people so that they can sign off and say that they gave it to everyone. This is a way to kind of have a better digital record of that. So uploading that same PDF as a step within this course, and then creating a quiz. The quiz builder is also straightforward and easy. You could have questions here, but for that specific example of like a policy acknowledgement, it could be as simple as, I certify that I have received the attached document. Or documents. Thanks, autocorrect. True, false. So even just having this as a, true, false would be a good digital record of, hey, I did give this to everyone. They certified that they received it. All right, let's take a quick look at Learning Path. Learning Path is one of the newer features within the platform that allows you to set up a set order for courses to be completed in. So something like a new hire orientation, for example. We can take a look at this. So we've created a learning path for orientation. We can see the courses that are involved with this. So 3 courses that are on here. But this will be the order that they are in as well. So this is, clicking and dragging and moving in whatever order we want to move them in. But this means that whenever a user is assigned this learning path and they're assigned these courses, they would be assigned the first course. And then once they complete the first course, then they're assigned the second course. And then once they complete the second course, they're automatically assigned the third course. So not only automating the course enrollment aspect of this, but also giving you agency over the order in which someone completes a course or their courses. We can also see the users, and we could assign users directly this way. I mentioned the My Courses page earlier, but since we're here, I'm going to visit it again. My Courses, this page is the default landing page for any non-admin user. So your end users and employees, this is really the only thing they have access to, this and their transcript. But we can see just at a glance, the courses that are in progress are given priority with the resume. It is resumed from their section that they left off at. So if they get interrupted and need to come back, it'll resume where they left off. We can also see the completed courses down here, and the user can see their completed date. And they can also access completion certificate if needed. And here in the settings, we've got our email notification settings that we mentioned earlier. We continue to grow this section out and have plans to add additional email notifications in the future that we'll house under here, but we can see what's available out of the box. And it's things like course due date reminders, course enrolled to user, and you have agency over who receives those email notifications. So a course due date reminder, maybe it's going to the client admin and the user, depending on the size of the organization. Maybe your client admins don't want to be receiving emails for every time someone has a due date coming up, but maybe the sub-level admins should be receiving those. So we can just easily check that, make that adjustment so that it goes out to the appropriate people. Let's take a look at the reports. So with our reports with TraineryLMS, we have these standard reports along the top. users, enrollments, courses, job role, bundle. We also have custom reports. We'll take a look at those in a moment, but let's dive into some of these standard reports. So we can see this user report is a listing of our users and activity. All of our reports here are drill down. So if we needed to see additional information for a specific user, simple click down into the next level. So we can see Luca's transcript again here, but with a little more information like the enrolled date, start date, due date, completion date, view ID, quiz info, completion certificate. We can see that completion certificate by clicking the icon. Again, demo site, so I see some funky things on here, but that link pulls up your completion certificate. Let's go to the course page. We can see the course reports, which is a similar layout, but different information. Of course, we can see number of completed. All of these can be sorted, filtered down as needed. We can sort by past due to see if there's specific courses with past due. And our hierarchy reports allow us to see the level 3 information. So in this case, job role could be called departments or whatever in your organization. But we can also sort by here, number of users that are within those sections, number of courses completed, and again, drill down as needed into each individual one. And we'll take a look at these custom reports. So most clients utilize these out of the box standard reports. In some cases, they may have specific information they want to pull out or cater a report specifically to what they're looking for. And that's what the custom reports allow you to do. So these custom reports, I'm going to go into one already completed so you can get an idea, but you can create the type of report that you want to view: due date report, bundle report, course report, user report, etc. We've really unlocked essentially all data fields within the platform so that you can pick and choose what you would like to show up on your custom report. How do you want the report sorted when you run it? Duration. Is there a specific time frame? Last 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, or historical, or contract period? You can add filters to that if you choose, or you can also leave this blank to pull all information. But for instance, if you were creating a past due report to run, you could do a filter for past due, past due equals true type thing. A lot of playing around with the custom reports. But the nice thing, the reason I highlight this, is you can schedule these reports to auto run and email at set intervals. So without even having to log into the system, if I wanted to get the report weekly on past due, for example, I could just set that up. Frequency of run every 7 days, and then what email address needs to receive this. This does not check for a match within the system, so you can truly enter whatever email address you want here. So it does not have to be a user within the system, or you could send it to a different email address than one that's registered. It does not matter. It's going to just allow you to free enter, for example. And you can add as many of those as you like. All right. One other feature we'll talk about with Trainery that's accessible for admins and users is the help page. The help page, the top right silhouette where we would go to also log out, can be accessed by clicking help. We pull this up and it takes us to our ever evolving help guide. As we continue to add features, we continue updating this guide. We also go through periodically and add videos and how-to guides to this. But these links show you exactly the kind of information that's available within here. So if we needed a refresher or help with organization setup, follow the link and see. And in this case, we've got a video for organization setup that we could watch that might help if we got stuck or needed a refresher. You notice along the left here that there are other subcategories: TraineryLMS, Review Cloud, and TrackLearning. We're in the process of launching our Trainery One brand of software products and housing them under one single sign-on structure, which is fantastic. But our performance management platform, Review Cloud, and our training compliance tracker, the TrackLearning system, also have the help guides that are accessible through here and can be accessed through that single sign-on if you are a subscriber to multiple systems. We'll also be launching our Trainery One brand that will house all of them in the very near future, so be on the lookout for that as well. I see the bubbles. I'll pause.
Wonderful. Let's see here. So Heather says, does this platform have the ability to document training for a user that was not accessed from this LMS? For example, if they take a webinar on their own, is there a way for us to enter that here?
Currently within the LMS, no. But as I was mentioning kind of over here, this Review Cloud and TrackLearning, that is one of the features with TrackLearning, which is does multiple things, one of which being tracking the requirements for professional certifications, licenses, et cetera, but also tracking training. That would be one of the things you could set up through TrackLearning, and that's integrated through TraineryLMS. Beyond the scope of what we're covering today, and still kind of in the early stages of being launched with that integration. So to answer your question, I guess it's a yes and no. Please reach out and we can talk one-on-one about that one.
Perfect. Thank you.
No problem. And actually, at that point, there's not much more within the system I want to dive into. I think that's a really good 30,000-foot overview of the features with the LMS. So I do want to open it up if anyone else has questions before we wrap up.
And you guys can put that in the chat or the Q&A. We'll give it about 2 minutes to see if any more questions roll in. In the meantime, I do want to thank you so much, Matt. It's a very interesting presentation. I swear every time we do these, I learn a little bit more and more about our systems. I feel like the Trainery Network is always growing and improving. You guys are so fantastic at receiving feedback, and I know that some of these questions that have been asked today will definitely go into that. It looks like Jim has one more question, and he says, will the certificates auto-generate?
Clarify for auto-generate for me, because I want to make sure I'm answering the question.
And Jim, you can definitely clarify there. I think my understanding would be whenever they complete a bundle or a course, will there just be a certificate that automatically generates that they receive, as well as maybe their manager?
Yes. So one of the other email notifications is a copy of that certificate that's emailed to the user saying that they've completed the course. The reports have a link for the managers to access that. But yes, all of that is auto-generated. It does populate the name of the course, the time of completion, the date, and the user's name.
Perfect. And I can actually attest to that as someone here at JER that has used our LMS. I know whenever I completed a course, I was emailed a certificate as well as my manager. So there was nothing else for me to do as an employee. And she was able to see that on the back end. So that was very easy peasy.
I will say, for anyone who's on that has a background in LMS systems, from like a architecture or database standpoint, specifically with LearnDash, that's one of the LearnDash limitations historically has been the restrictive view access for completion certificates that our developers managed to code a workaround so that the admin level users are able to receive and view the completion certificates from the end user. I'm gonna sound like I'm dorking out over it, but kind of a big deal that they were able to figure that one out. It's a nice thing when working with a LearnDash system.
No, it definitely is. That's a big deal, and I think that it makes it a lot easier for management and employees across the board. So yeah, I don't think there's any more questions that are coming in. Again, thank you, Matt, for the wonderful presentation. If anyone has any other questions, please do not hesitate to reach out and let us know. As I mentioned earlier, you're all going to receive a recording of the webinar as well as a copy of the slide deck by email. I hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend. If you're celebrating the 4th, please be careful out there. Oh, it looks like Jim has one more question. Good, Jim. You got it in right in the nick of time. Let's see. He says, similar to my previous question, if you have to update a course in a learning path and you have a learner actively working in the learning path, but has not accessed the course in the learning path, would the newest version automatically be assigned to the learner? I think we had discussed this a little bit earlier. Maybe a little bit of clarification is needed.
Yeah, specifically with the learning path, from just a architectural standpoint, the next course in the learning path isn't assigned to the user until they've completed the prior course. So specifically talking about learning paths, whenever they hit that next course, whatever, if they finish course number 1, it's always going to assign course number 2. But it hasn't assigned course number 2 yet, just because they're in the learning path. So if course number 2 is updated while they're working on course 1, when that assignment rolls through, they're going to get assigned whatever, the latest version of course 2 is. I hope that answers your question. Beyond that, one of the things that I did not show that I should have, and I'm glad that that question reminded me, if we were looking specifically at a user's, let me give it to someone that has some completions. Let's go back to Luca. I'm like Luca here. Okay, I'm in the reports, of course. Let's go to the user page and look at Luca. Okay, so one of the other things on here, I should have mentioned this earlier when we were on this page, and I didn't, my mistake, but we do have a course reset on here. So if someone has already completed a course and there is either a new version of the course and they need to retake it, or they need retraining, like there's an incident from a safety standpoint, if it's a safety related course, or even a HR compliance standpoint, if they need to retake it, there is a course reset directly here. This can also be accessed on the individual course page as well when we were under the learning and edit course page. But from an individual user, we could do it here, where we can automatically archive and re-enroll the user and set a custom defined due date for this user for a course if they needed to repeat it. I know that kind of goes above and beyond the scope of the question, but it's still related, so worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, actually, I didn't even know that that was there. So that's absolutely wonderful to learn. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Well,
and I will say, to echo what you said earlier about reaching out, if you have more questions, happy to do a more personalized one-on-one consultation with anyone and specifically dive into some of the questions you may have that may go beyond the scope of just this kind of general overview. So I've got the information on the screen now to reach out to us. I know it will be sent out in the webinar as well, but certainly feel free to ping me with an email, give me a call. We can set up some time to chat, and we'd love to find out specifically what challenges are with your unique organization, what unique challenges you face, but also, make sure that all of the questions are addressed personally. So.
Perfect. Thank you again, Matt. And I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for your time today. And yes, enjoy your weekend.